Hey True Believers, England Teen here with another comic book origins, and this time around we are going to be talking about Painkiller Jane. And I gotta tell you, it's one of those situations, no matter how many comic books you read, something's gonna go by you. And in this case, I feel kind of silly about this. I had no idea who Painkiller Jane is, but when I was looking up information, I find out there was a TV show. She's been around since 1996. There was a movie made for TV, and I missed it all. So I'm very interested in jumping into this. As I'm doing this video, it will be my first time reading it through as I'm doing this video, so you're going to get an actual reaction from it. Created by Jimmy Palmiotti and Joe Quesada in 1996 for Event Comics. Painkiller Jane then went over to Icon and Dynamite. God bless you guys for finding this character before I am. Hopefully I enjoyed 22 Brides issue number 1 as much as you did. So, kick back, relax, and let's get this party started. So, okay, at first I was going to go off on this cover, then I found out it was a variant. So I'm not going to say too much about it, but I am thinking, why don't you just find one more character if you're going to do this? Do the Brady Bunch. I know Gen X did it, or Gen 13, but yeah, just do the Brady Bunch. I think that would be a lot more fun. I kind of felt this was a little bit interesting. See, in the first write-up that I read, it said Jimmy Palmiotti and Joe Quesada. Obviously, they're known for story, cover art, and prologue. But the script and pencils by Fabian Nietzsche and Scott Lee, why are they not getting credit on like everything that mentions 22 Brides? So the book starts off, and we see a gun pressed to a guy's nose, snot's hanging out and everything. And we hear, say you're sorry. I'm sorry? Not sincere enough. Why do little Napoleons like you always want to have your cake in Waterloo? And now we know why Fabian Nietzsche doesn't want his name on this kind of stuff. Really? That's what you're... that was not a good joke. Not a good joke. So anyway, he says he's sorry, and the guy's like, oh, not good enough. And then he says, you made a deal with those girls. He says, I know. You broke it. I know. Now, how are you going to forget continuity between one page and another? You saw big old page, gun in the face, and then in the very next one, you've got the person standing what looks to be 2, 3, maybe 4 feet behind them with their gun at their head, and they're trying to bad talk them. That is some of the worst continuity I've literally ever seen. So they're like, look where it got you, Joey. Busted your entire operation as well as your nose. Yeah, things didn't work out like a plan. What are you gonna do about it? And the lady who's holding the gun says, well, my former employee, way I see it, I got 2 choices. Kill you fast, kill you slow. Which would you prefer? I don't know. Personally, I would go with slow. Give me some time. Maybe I could figure out a way out of it. I know it'd be painful up until the death part. But yeah, with life comes hope. That's all what I always believe. But that's neither here nor there. I don't know if that comes back, but the next page has nothing to do with, by the looks of it, what we're saying. They do say, well, let's talk about it. So maybe we're going to get the story from here, you know, what actually happened. So let's find out. Yeah, I guess I was right, because in this very serious story where a person's life is on the line, the first words we see at the top of the page are, and away we go. We're at the Slimelight nightclub in Manhattan, and we see a whole bunch of girls, I guess, getting out of a car and going through what looks like a high school gym to get to the dance floor. You girls ready for a ride to hell? Like we got a choice. Going down. I guess they're in an elevator. It looks like a hallway, but I guess it's an elevator. Lies, abandon hope. All who enter... You're selling a nightclub on the fact that it's going to suck? So they jump in. They say, where's the boss? And the other girl says, back there, to the left. So far, I gotta say, the book is perfect because we've gotten really no names. We've gotten no reason for anybody to do anything here. No motives or anything. We're only about 3 or 4 pages in, though. So what are we at? 1, 2, 3? 3 pages in. So I guess it's okay that we don't know anybody or their motivations. Maybe we'll catch up to that at some point in time. Sorry for bumping the desk there, but I'm kind of doubting it. Like I said before, this is the first time I'm reading it, and we see the girls, they're going down. They say, oh, well, that's the boss. He's not what I expected. And they both go, loser. loser, which was big in the 90s, thanks to Ace Ventura. And while they say that, the woman in the elevator comes up behind him, but a loser with daddy's money and mommy's guns. Now go make nice with the boss. We all have to. So they're walking up to him, and this is weird because he's saying, out of red. Excuse me? The girl asks. Boys, procure me some. Red what? He's not talking to you. Are we? Okay, I'm sorry, but it makes the girls look dumb. I have no idea who they are yet. So this is page 5. We have no idea who anybody is in any book. In at all. I mean, not in any book, but on any page. Nobody who's shown up. We don't know their names. We don't... Oh, look, Dorito dust. We don't know their names. We don't know their motivations or anything. Oh, well, now we know that the guy's motivation, the boss's motivation, was that he had to procure lipstick to paint his little, what looks like a He-Man statue. So the little boss man turns the statue around. He's got red on his face, and he says, I always think they need more red. And the girls are like, yeah, me too. Better red than dead, I always say. And he gives back the lipsticks, and we finally learn their names. I kid you not. One of them is named Carrie, the other one Miss Libby, and one of the bodyguards says, Don Joe Fonte would like to say he was very happy to meet you ladies. His fervent hope is that your presence within our family continues to be an enjoyable one for all. And then as they're walking away, one says, cute chicks, huh? And the boss says, the one with the red, which one was she? Libby, short for Liberty, perhaps. A waif aspiring towards freedom of spirit and form. Finally, a little characterization. Actually, if you look at it, the boss, you could say, is kind of aloof, kind of self-serving. He's aware of his surroundings, yet doesn't really care about them. Otherwise, we got nothing from the girls. I don't know who's the lead character here. Are they going to shift focus? Once again, this is my very first time, and I'm reading it page by page and then commenting as we go, so you are getting an instant reaction. That being said, let me stave off a couple of comments, and yes, I do realize I even read the name Joey on the first page, so if anybody's commented at this point, they like stop the video, ha ha ha, he said his name was Joey, yet you said nobody was named. So yes, I get it. So we see the girls walking through the club again, and for some reason, a tall French woman with cigarettes tries to walk over, I guess that was Libby, and we see a door guy that's a transvestite, and they say, hey, doorman, I prefer door person, and we finally discover something about our leads. They're in a band, and they need to make money for their mother. All right, 9 pages in on a 23-page comic book here, so... That's still bad, gang. I mean, almost half the book is over, and we're just learning. We just learned their names, and now we learn they're in a band. Okay, let's continue here, guys. We see the young ladies then walking through an alley, and we see Libby saying, why are you always so worried? We could take care of Marlon Brando by way of Billy Barty, no problem. We could take care of anything, right? And she's jumping on a garbage can, and we see a flash of a dead body at the bottom of the stairs. Cassie says, sure. Okay, then. Once Lulu shows up, it's time for us to exit stage, and she gets dragged off left. And Carrie's yelling, Libby! Let me try that again. And then Cassie rounds the corner, and she sees Libby being held by a guy, their little street gang. One of them has a shepherd's crook, so he's got a day job. And then, of course, they're like, oh, the boss wants you ladies for the night. And Cassie pulls out a couple of guns and says, over your dead body. The guy in the front of the gang claims he's been shot, and Libby kicks him and says, I'll stop the bleeding. I do like the line where, I guess the dumb guy says, a foot don't work as a tourniquet. And then, of course, he's like, no, they're getting away. And then they're like, you hear something? Then a whole bunch of knives fly at him. And Cassie's there going, oh, the cavalry. This is Fabian Nietzsche and Jimmy Palmiotti. I know they can do better work than this. Painkiller Jane got a movie, so I know some people love the character. I'm reading this, I'm thinking this is... there's some okay stuff to it, but seriously, can we at least get some sort of story going? There seems to be all plot right now, but okay. Back to it. It's almost over. So we see the girls that are coming down the fire escape. There's a car that pulls up, by the way. So were they on the roof waiting for Libby and Cassie? What exactly is this entrance right here? If they had a car, why aren't they pulling up with a car? If they were going to meet Cassie and Libby, why would they hide up on the roof? Did they know that this gang was gonna grab Libby? Why didn't they attack beforehand? This page makes no sense. So we see the girl they were talking about, Lulu, pop her head out of the limo. And she says, okay, who called for a cab? And Libby says, howdy, Lulu. What took you so long? And she's like, oh, there was a street vendor with the most adorable earrings for sale. And they say, let's talk more rock. Well, you asked her. So anyway, they get into the car, and one of them says, James, show them what's behind door number 3. And the gang's like, go! And we see a whole bunch of guns sticking out, a couple of rockets too. And they stop, and one gang member asks the other one, how do you think the boss is going to take this? How do you think? He's going to be totally... By the way, this entire page, if you look at all of that dialogue, the only information towards the story that moves the story forward is literally, and then what happened, the girls escaped in and find out where they live. That's it. That's all. But we do get some character. These 3 characters right here are the only people who are interesting in the entire book to me. So as the boss is walking out of the bathroom, the bell girl, the elevator lady, comes up and says there's a guy at the door, and apparently his name, and I kid you not, this is his name, Vinny Barbarino Testavino. And they ask him about the girls, and he says, well, I don't know nothing. And then they pull guns on him. He says, okay, Fonny screwed with the wrong chicks. He got himself on the bad side of the brides. Big deal. So does every other married man. Thrum-ba-boom. So they all pile into Lulu's mansion, and she's like, hey, I missed my possessions. You were only gone an hour. And they're just basically rambling on. They do ask someone to find out who the pinheads, those guys who tried to kidnap them, were working for. And then they just ask for dinner and then take off all their clothes. It's that kind of book. So wrapped in basically a bandana and a head towel each, Libby and Cassie go to find what information they could get. We find out that the guys worked for Fonty, which we already know, and Libby figures it out. Oh my gosh, it wasn't a hit. It was Fonny's version of foreplay. Oh, utterly gross. He has the hots for me? What do we do now? And then this girl comes up. I guess her name's Decio. What we always do when boys play rough. We show them how much love hurts. And friends, who wants the Glock and who wants the Patriot missile? Personally, take the Glock and smack the crap out of anybody who wants to take a Patriot missile into a building with you so they can fight the people that you're fighting. I don't think that would end up well for anyone. And we cut to a watering hole on 3rd and 25th where we see a detective saying, you want anything for me? Person on the other end. Seems Don Hervé Villachez has run afoul of the brides. The 22 brides, they don't really exist. Tell that to the local toughs bleeding all over the street. Really? This gets better all the time. We were tossing bait for Fonty, and we might reel in this mythical girl gang too. Well, detective, you know what they say about fishing. Don't cast your line out for minnows and be surprised when you reel in a shark. Now, I'm not a professional fisherman, but I'm thinking if you're trying to catch minnows, use a net, not a line, and the bait would be way too small for a shark. So I'm just saying. And I don't think a shark would be like, oh, minnows, woohoo! It's a bad saying. So Libby and Cassie go back to the bar, and they're told, hey, the boss wants to hear music. And she goes, good, we're here to play. The set rips, bodies fly, sweat mingles with lust, adrenaline slides through the air. And for the next hour, Carrie and Libby can almost forget who they are, where they come from, and worst of all, where they're going, almost. Great questions. Who are they? Where did they come from? Where are they going? What are their motivations? What is their purpose in this story? Because completely they are objects now. They are only objects of lust for the bad guy. That's all that's been said and told so far. I would love for these questions to have been answered really somewhere in the comic book up to this point, because I only think we have 2 or 3 pages left. And we see Libby just walking, and there's a shadow. When it says Libby, Libby, Libby on the label, you will like her on the table, which is really a creepy way to try to get a girl to like you. Libby says that Fonty scared her, and he says, scare you out. So Libby says that Fonty scared her. Fonty says, scared the pants off you? That'd be nice. Scared you out of your skin? That'd be nicer. Girls need more red. And Cassie comes up. My sister needs red like you need a hole in the head. Let's talk this out, Mr. Fonty. Darling, wouldn't you agree with me that actions speak louder than words? And we hear a couple of guns clicking, and we see the bodyguards. Excuse our revolvers to your eye sockets. And Cassie says, excuse you? No, excuse us. For what? And then we see all of the girls with their guns out and pointed at Fonty and the bodyguards. But then Fonty says, let's see, do I let you walk or risk a nasty firefight? I know. And we just see a lot of click, 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 click. And so Fonty says, so here I am thinking, you girls can live if you come work for me. And Cassie's like, death might be the better option. Then try this. You come work for me, and I'll get Carrie and Libby's mother out of jail. Dun, dun, dun. Wait, their mom was in jail? I mean, I know they said we need money for mom, but they didn't say we need money to get mother out of jail. There is so much story not told here. Now, granted, this is a 4-issue story, so maybe this is done in the 3rd, 4th, 2nd issue, whatever. At least that's what I filmed, 4 issues. But what is going... Now, also, this is... I looked around. What is Painkiller Jane's first appearance? And this is what I was told. Is Painkiller Jane the one at the front? Is this just a cameo appearance? Is there more to her? I don't know. If you guys are more familiar, let me know in the comments below what's going on. As this is my first time reading this, and you guys got a lot of my reaction. Look, a lot of characters in the 90s suffered from bad story, and then they went on to be written better in the 2000s, especially when it came to Image Comics and such like that, and independent comics. And that could be what happened. Fabian Nietzsche, though, is actually a good writer, and I just did not... I'm sorry, Jim. Jim Sorensen commissioned this book. I'm sorry. This is... it wasn't good. I didn't think... I didn't like it. But it is what I was told was the first appearance of Painkiller Jane, so I hope I struck it there. Dang. This is very confusing when it's like they don't name it. They didn't name any characters except for Joe or Fonty or whatever his name was for like 5 pages. So it was a little confusing. And you still have no idea. They didn't even say that the mom was in prison. They just said they needed money for their mother. They didn't say that. There's so much story left out of this. It could have been so much better. Wow, a rewrite of this would actually be cool, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to be picking off these commissioned videos over the next 30 days to get it. That's all I've got left, and this is one of them. Thank you very much to Jim for doing this one. And there you go, gang. What do you think of the first appearance of Painkiller Jane? She was one of the people in this book, I guess, according to Comic Vine, according to Wikipedia, according to damn everything. 22 Brides #1. That was her first appearance. Okay, what did you think of it? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to click like, share, subscribe. You know the deal, but more important is the commenting, the clicking of the likes, and the hitting of the notifications. Make sure it's set on all. If you don't mind helping out the channel, go on over to Patreon or to Ko-Fi, drop $1 in the till. It's just giving a tip, and it would help keep the lights on here, help me making videos for you. Like, thank everybody who's already done that. To everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.